Have you ever recoiled at the idea of a woman in a video game? No? Perfect! That means you're a normal person capable of actual criticism. But have you ever looked up a new game you're excited for, only to find a flood of videos whining about feminism or calling it woke? Yeah, me too. The Grifters have their sights on Silent Hill F. So, what's the game actually like? And is all the hate even justified? Hey, welcome to my channel everyone, I'm the globalcherry and we will discuss this today. If you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like and subscribe when it's over. Let's dive in.
I hate it all. Every part. I'll destroy it all! I hated my father. But I didn't really like my mother either.
Silent Hill follows Shimizu Hinako, a young woman from a troubled family in 1960s rural Japan. Her town Ebisugaoka becomes swallowed by fog and transformed into a nightmare of grotesque creatures and parasitic red flowers. Despite taking the series in a bold new direction, the game's been misunderstood by parts of the fanbase, mainly because it's not set in the original town and doesn't have obvious ties to the older games. So, where do the Grifters come in? From their cozy Twitter basements, they invent things to be angry about, twisting the story beyond recognition and drowning out genuine criticism. Their takes are so absurd that even in a world full of female-led games like Tomb Raider, they're still complaining about not being able to sexualize a teenager.
I'm Chris Hansen, and this is To Catch a Predator.
Or calling the game a feminist attack on men. Let's set the record straight. I'm going to break down what Silent Hill F is really about, offer honest criticism, and clear through the fog. Because if there's one thing these guys have in common, it's calling everything woke propaganda without even knowing what woke means. And let's be honest, most of them haven't even been within 6 feet of a Silent Hill game, or a woman other than their mom. Silent Hill F explores the pressure placed on young women in 1960s Japan to marry, have children, and conform to strict gender roles. Hinako's arranged marriage isn't about love, it's about paying off her family's debts. Because she was never allowed to make her own choices, she still sees herself as a high schooler even though she's in her 20s. That arrested development mirrors her inner conflict between the fog and spiritual world, and explains why she appears younger than her fiancé Kotoyuki, though they're the same age.
Good morning.
Grifters twist all this into ridiculous takes, calling the game anti-marriage or anti-womanhood. One even described it as a depressed chick in her 20s going on a murder spree at her wedding. They completely missed the point by forcing a 1960s Japanese story through the lens of modern Western outrage. The story isn't anti-marriage, it's about being denied choice. Hinako grew up with an abusive father and a mother who endured his violence to protect her. That trauma influenced her to see relationships not as comfort, but as cages. Her sister Junko, once her protector, became her opposite, believing compliance brings peace. Under Japan's Koseki system, marriage erased a woman's identity, literally replacing her existence under her husband's name. In the game, that loss of self becomes physical. Junko's body and mind was consumed by something that refuses to let her exist on her own terms. Hinako fears the same fate. If Junko's notes are real, she married a man just like their father, violent, drunk, and cruel. And after enduring the abuse like their mother once did, she took her own life, apologizing for her selfishness. That's why Hinako fears her fiancé, the Foxman, might wear the same mask as her father. Beneath tradition, the strangulation marks on Junko's neck are a haunting reminder of that fear. The fact that some players get angry at Hinako for wanting agency over her own life says more about them than the game. I can smell the lack of maidens on them while they project their insecurities onto a teenage girl and start lecturing her about marriage in the 60s.
You are maidenless.
Silent Hill has always been about confronting trauma through horror, not just fighting monsters in the fog. Under constant pressure from family, society, and supernatural forces, Hinako breaks. Shu, her childhood friend, was the only one who never forced expectations on her, and she valued that even though he didn't see her as a woman. Her friends Sakuko and Rinko mirror her guilt and insecurities. Sakuko embodies her fear of abandonment. Rinko her internalized misogyny, what we now call pick-me energy. Hinako never got the chance to define womanhood on her own terms. It's a shame because Kotoyuki actually seems like a decent man, aside from, you know, the terrifying ritual stuff. The doll warns me not to trust him, but honestly, I'd still jump into his arms. What's up? As for the pills, Shu meant well. He tried to help her headaches but gave her hallucinogens made from white Claudia, the same plant used by Lisa Garland in other Silent Hill games. The story is layered and rewards multiple playthroughs. Like Silent Hill 2, nothing you see is literal. You're exploring Hinako's mind and it's up to you to decide what's real or symbolic. Just as James Sunderland's monsters represented guilt, Hinako's horrors reflect her fight for control. She doesn't reject marriage itself, she rejects being forced into it. She just wants to choose, to be loved for who she is. In one ending, Hinako realizes both she and Kotoyuki were trapped by expectations. When she's ready, she wants to move forward with them on her own terms. Meanwhile, Kotoyuki questions whether his love is real or driven by the fox god. In the end, they both reclaim marriage as a symbol of love and agency instead of control. As stated before, some argue that Silent Hill F doesn't belong in the series because it's not set in the original town. The presence of White Claudia, the spiritual parallels, and the focus on inner torments tied to the series' soul. The game speaks the language of Silent Hill, alternate realities, symbolic monsters, and inner torments to tell a deeply personal, psychological story. It blends the history of 1960s Japan with powerful symbolism to explore trauma, guilt, and the illusion of choice. I know it's subjective, but it's not just about the town to me. It's about what festers inside its people. Hinako is forced to face the darkest corners of her mind, her guilt and pain made flesh. And maybe others will disagree, but to me that's what makes this a true Silent Hill game at its core. I'm definitely planning to replay it to see the different endings. That said, it's not perfect. I think Silent Hill F is a great game, but I'm not going to bash anyone for disliking it, and fans who do enjoy it shouldn't be judged either. I get it, I'm a Resident Evil fan too, and I'll be the first to admit I didn't like Resident Evil 6. Being critical is healthy. While I really enjoyed Silent Hill F, I did have mixed feelings about one thing: the combat. The enemy designs are fantastic and the boss fights are genuinely tense and disturbing. I love how the game plays with you, with monsters waiting to strike the moment you relax, but the fighting itself feels slow. Maybe it was meant to build tension, but it can get tiring for people. Weapons break over time, and while you can sometimes run away, the game often makes you clear areas before moving on. You can upgrade Hinako's stamina and health by collecting Ima and offering them to Oinari-sama for faith points. The Omamori charms are a great addition too, giving bonuses like faster healing or reduced visibility. I enjoyed that layer of resource management in games, though it might not appeal to everyone. Aside from that, the atmosphere, music, and sound design are phenomenal. Fog-covered torii gates and collapsing homes make every encounter unpredictable, and the voice acting perfectly captures the fear and desperation in every line. I understand why some players were confused by the fox arm transformation, but I actually loved it. To me, it represents Hinako gaining strength through her arranged marriage at a cost, taking on the power of the Tsuneki family she is tied to. Others might just see it as a teen girl who copyrighted Devil May Cry's Devil Trigger, and that is fine. My only real complaint is that the repetitive combat sometimes breaks immersion, even if the Omamori make it slightly more dynamic. If you enjoy horror games, you should give it a try. And do not be afraid to choose story mode. It won't hurt your dignity, I promise. Hard mode can make the combat feel like a drag, while story mode makes the puzzles easier, which some people may not like. I personally liked certain puzzles, including the scarecrow segments. What a beautiful face to fall asleep to. In the end, Silent Hill F has both strengths and weaknesses, but it deserves honest criticism, not rage bait. Sadly, YouTube rewards outrage, letting anti-woke creators dominate by adding DEI and feminism into their word soup. They do not care about games. If your biggest problem is that a woman is not hot enough, like with The Witcher 4 nonsense, please talk to Jesus. Games should be judged for the right reasons. That is all for today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more content like this, And share your thoughts on the discourse in the comments below. We're aiming for 10k before the end of year, and your support really helps. If you care about genuine game criticism as much as I do, I'd love for you to join me on this journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!